Hello and welcome to the Key Stage 3 maths lesson this week. So this is a follow-on lesson from last week where you was doing addition and subtraction, and as promised this week is about multiplication and division. So before we get started, I'm going to go through the lesson objectives for today. So by the end of this lesson, all of you will be able to use a written method to calculate an answer to a multiplication and division problem. So for the multiplication I will show you more than one method. So if you can do more than one method, then most of you will be able to do that. So most of you will be able to use more than one method to calculate a multiplication and division question and apply it to a worded question as well. So you have to apply that information you've learned to a worded question. And then some of you will be able to apply the knowledge that you learn in today's lesson to problems involving decimals. To make it a bit more harder, so you'll be asked to do it with decimals. So to get started, we're going to go into lung multiplication. We're going to start with the multiplication, and like I said, I'm going to show you two different methods, and this one's called the formal method. And here's the question for you. So you do 24 times 16. So it's quite a big numbers to do in our head, so we can break it down. So we're going to rewrite the question out so it looks like that. So all the tens line up and all the units line up. The first thing we're going to do is look at the units column. So 6 times 4. So what is 6 times 4? That's 24. So we carry the 2, put it above the tens, then we put the 4 in the units. Next up we're going to do, we use the same units, so 6, but this time we're going to times it by 20. So 6 times 20. An easy way to do this is to do 6 times 2 and then add the 0 on the end. So that would be 120. But then we have that extra 20 which we carried over from the first part. So from the 24 we've carried over the 20 at the top. So we need to add that one on. So 120 add 20 equals 140. Next thing we need to do is do the 10 from the blue in the tens column at the bottom times 24, which equals 240, and then we add them together. So that will give you 384. Okay, I know it's a lot of information to take in, but I am going to show you two methods. I prefer the second method, which we'll move on to, but I want to show you both, and then you can pick for yourself which one you prefer. So I'm going to show you one more example. So I'm going to do 25 times 17. So the first thing I'm going to do is write it out. 25 times 17. If you could now pause the screen and give it a try using the steps I showed you in the first one, and then we'll go through this one together and see if you worked it out right or find out where you've gone wrong. So just pause the screen and give this one a try, please. Okay, so we're going to go through the answers to this one. So the first thing you have to do is look at the units. So 7 times 5, that equals 35. The 30 will go above the tens column, so above the 2, and the 5 will go in underneath. The next step is to do 7 times the 2, which equals 20, so 7 times 20, which equals 140. But we've also got that 30 that we put above the 2, so we need to add that on as well. So that would be 140 add 30, which equals 170. And we can drop that in there. Then finally we have to do the 10 from the bottom times by 25, which equals 250. All we have to do then is add those two together. So it's 425. Remember, we need to carry the 1 at the bottom, so 5 add 7. We need to carry that 10. So don't forget to carry the number that was from last week's addition. So if you haven't done last week's addition and subtraction, please go and do that first, because it will make this much easier. I'm now going to show you the second method, and this is the method that I prefer, and it's called the grid method. And it takes a little bit longer, and for every question you'll need to draw a table. So I'm going to show you how this one works. So this is the question, 55 times 46. The first thing we do is break the question down into 50 and 5 and 40 and 6, so the tens and the units, and then we write them in the table. We can then work around the table and work out what each one is. So I'm going to start in the bottom right hand corner. So 5 times 6, that's 30, so I write 30 in there. Next time I do 50 times 6, which equals 300. Then I'm going to do 5 times 40. And then finally 50 times 40. So once that table's filled in, all you have to do is add up all those numbers together. So 2000, add 300, add 200, add 30. And you should find, if you use your column addition from last week, you'll get an answer of 2,530. You can check that on a calculator if you like, it should be correct. So this is the method that I prefer, it's called the grid method. And there are the two different methods on the same screen. So 32 times 24. So on the left hand side we have the formal method, and on the right hand side we have the grid method. So what I want you to do, I want you to try and use this grid method. Can you just pause the screen for a few moments and give those a try, please? So I've made the grid for you already, can you just give those a try? Okay, well done if you've done that. Remember to send your work into the Edge Academy where it will get marked, and we'll send it back to you with feedback and how to improve. So please, if you do the work, send it in to us. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you an animation. So there's a little short video, and it will give you some examples of multiplication. It also uses these animations which might help explain multiplication better if you don't understand. So if you sat there and you're still struggling, I'm going to put a little video on there which will break it down further for you. And it will also show the animation, so it's just a different way of learning, and see if that helps.
Movies, places.
So I hope that video has explained it slightly better for you, or gave you some examples and helped. So I want you to use the information you've just learned and apply it to those questions, please? So can you pause the screen and can you try those? Okay, well done if you've tried those ones. There are some more for you to try, and as you can see, they're going to get harder and harder, so gradually we're going to build it up until we are hitting those worded questions from the lesson objective, and we are hitting those decimals for people that want to give those a try. So can you try the green ones if you still think you're struggling a little bit? Can you try the yellow ones if you think they're okay? If you think they're a little bit easy, can you try the red ones for me, please? If you want, you can try them all. You can start with the green and work your way up to the red ones, but can you just pause the screen and give those a try for me, please? Okay, here are some more for you to try, and I want you to take about 10 minutes to these, so take your time, and you can use either method. You can either use the grid method or the formal lung multiplication method. I want you to do all of those for me, please. Just pause the screen and give those a try. Okay, well done if you've done those. Remember to send them into the Edge Academy, please, so we can get marked. And as promised, we are going to move on to wordy questions. So I'll quickly go through question 1 with you. This is: Alicia went on a shopping spree and bought 12 pairs of shoes. Each pair cost £15. How much did she spend? So you have to interpret this question. So you need to take out the key information. So she bought 12 pairs of shoes and they were £15 each. How much did she spend? That means you have to do 12 times 15. So that'd be 12 times 15. So can you try those questions for me, please? So pause the screen. Remember to try and pick out that key information. Okay, and finally, on multiplication. As promised, I am offering for you to do decimals, so that would be the red at the very end. If you're very confident with it, can you try those? Remember to split the number up if you're using the grid method. And remember to line up the decimal places. If you're not so confident, you can try the blue ones in the middle. So they're still quite hard, but give yourself a try. If you're not very confident still, but you're starting to get the hang of it, can you try the green ones? If you need to go back to watch any of the animations or any of the video again to understand what you're doing, please do. Okay, well done if you've completed those. Remember, please send your work into the Edge Academy, where it will be marked and returned to you with feedback and improvements. And we are now going to move on to division. So remember, if you haven't done the addition and subtraction from last week, can you please do it? It all makes sense. So you've had to use addition this time. Perhaps this time we're going to use some subtraction. So if you haven't done the addition and subtraction lesson from last week, can you please do it, because this is a follow-on lesson. And I'm going to show you an example of how we do them. So here's a question. It's a worded question. We're going straight in with a worded question. So Katie has 199 apples. She wants to put equal amounts into 6 different baskets. How many apples can she put in each basket? That's the question. 199 divided by 6. And this is how we're going to rewrite it. So we put the 6 on the outside and then 189 in the middle, and this is called the bus stop method. So the first thing we have to do is how many 6s can go into 1, and it can't, so there we are, 0. And we then carry the 1 and put it next to the 8, so that becomes 18. So how many 6s are in 18? That would be 3. And then finally, we need to work out how many 6s go into 9. So there's a way you can work it out. So we have 180 so far. We have 189, so we've got 9 left. So there is 1 6 that goes into 9. But that leaves us with something left over. We had 9 and we used 1 6. That means we have to do 9 take away 6, which equals 3. And that is called your remainder. So the answer to that would be 31 with a remainder of 3. So that's 3 that can't fit into a basket. And that's how we write it. We put a little r at the end with a number 3. So that would be the answer. The answer is 31 remainder 3. 6 baskets have 31 apples in them, and there are 3 left over. Right, can you try and interpret that question? So take out the key information. So pause the screen, take out the key information, and can you try and use that method to try and calculate those ones, please? Okay, so we can go through the answer to this one now, if you've answered it. So she's got 231 apples and she wants to put them in 4 different baskets. So that's what the question is, 231 divided by 4. But we're going to rewrite it. So the first step is how many 4s are in 2, and that would be 0. So we have to carry that 2 and put it next to the 3. So that means how many 4s are in 23? That would be 5. So 4 times 50 would be 200. That means we've got 31 left over. How many 4s in 31? That would be 7. 4 times 7 equals 28. We do 31, take away 28, we have 3. So remember 4 times 5 in the last step, that 5 equals 50 because it's in the tens column, so that'd be 4 times 50, which is 200. So 231 take away 200 equals 31. 4 times 7 is 28, so 31 take away 28 equals 3. That is your remainder, so you have to put it at the top, and that would be your answer. So 57 remainder 3. Right, I now have another animation for you to watch, and hopefully this will explain the method again for you. So if you want to see more visuals, or you like the animations when they explains, please watch the animation.
Sharing 12 sweets into 2 equal groups. Simple. But what do we do when we have a sum like this? Let's imagine that I am the owner of a sweet factory. Let's call it Mars Bars Sweet Factory. So, every day in my factory, we make a certain number of sweets. I count up these sweets as they come out of the machine to figure out how many sweets we have in total. But after the sweets are made, we need to package them. One of these blue packets can hold exactly 10 sweets in it. When we have 10 full blue packets, we can put them into one of these big brown boxes. Each one of these brown boxes holds exactly 10 blue packets of 10 sweets. So, here's a question for you. How many sweets are in each brown box altogether? You got it? 10 by 10 is 100, of course. So, at the end of the day, when we have packed up everything, it looks like this. We have 3 boxes of 100, 1 packet of 10, and 2 leftover individual sweets. So, altogether, I have 312 sweets to share out today. But how many groups do I have to sort them into? Well, let me think then. There's Sarah's ice cream shop, There's Bobby's Bakery. Oh yeah, and Harry's hot dog stand as well. So 3 groups, and they all have to get the same amount, or else there'll be trouble. So 312 divided into 3 equal groups. That would take me ages to sort them out if I share them one at a time. Well, luckily, there is a much easier and much quicker way to do it. We can write a sum like this, with the number of groups on the left side of the division sign, and the number of sweets to be sorted on the right hand side of the division sign. So how exactly does this help us? Well, let's head outside and have a look. So here are our 3 delivery vans ready to go to each one of the shops. Now instead of opening up those big brown boxes and pouring out all the sweets, we can just go right ahead and share the boxes out. There's 3 brown boxes to be shared between 3 people, which means, well, they'll all get 1 each. We write that like this in the sum. Great, that was easy. Now let's sort out the next biggest, the blue packet. But wait, there's a problem. 1 packet divided between 3 people isn't going to work. So on this turn of sharing, we write down a 0 in the sum, because they got 0 sweets each this time. But wait, we know that there are 10 sweets inside that blue packet. So why don't we just open it up and pour out the 10 individual sweets? On our sum, we write that like this. So now, how many individual sweets have we got all together to sort? 12, exactly. The 10 from the blue packet, and the 2 we already had. So, 12 sweets divided by 3 groups, that we can do. They will get 4 sweets each. We can figure that out really quickly if we know our times tables, because remember, multiplication is the inverse, the opposite of division. Perfect. All the sweets are sorted. We got really lucky today because we don't have any sweets left over, and everybody got exactly the same amount. So how many sweets are in each van? See if you can figure it out from the sum that we wrote. That's right. 1 box of 100, 0 packs of 10, and 4 individual sweets each. So 1, 0, 4. 104 sweets for each shop. And that's it.
I hope that was helpful for you. If not, you can go back and rewatch the lesson if you need more help. And I want you to give those a try for me, please. I already set them up where they should be set up for you, so you don't have to rearrange questions. But can you give those a try, please? So just pause the screen and give those a try. Okay, well done if you've done those. Remember to send your work into the Edge Academy to get marks, please. And there are some worded questions. So you need to interpret the question, remove the key information that you need, rewrite the question, and then answer it, please. So you can give those a try. Just pause the screen and give those a try. Okay, well done if you've done that. Another one I want you to try is this worded question. It's a slightly harder one. I'm talking slightly bigger numbers, but use the exact same method. So give that a try, please. Okay, well done if you've done that. Remember to send your work into the Edge Academy to get marked. And that brings us to the end of the lesson. So here's the learning objectives we'll go through. So all of you will be able to use a written method to calculate an answer to a multiplication and division problem. So that if you can use any of the multiplication methods and this method for the division, you've achieved that one, so well done. To be able to use more than one method in the multiplication, so using the grid and the formal long multiplication, and to be able to use the division 1 we've just done and apply it, more importantly, to worded questions. So if you've applied it to worded questions, so taking out the key information that you need, give yourself a tick. And then some of you will be able to apply their knowledge to decimals. So there was a questions on there to do with decimals. If you've calculated the decimal ones, you've achieved that learning objective. So well done. There'll be another lesson next week. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you all very, very soon.